Now, the very thing, this is the breathtaking hypocrisy every Democrat, everyone in the mob and the media took on. You got Joe bragging, you're not getting the billion unless you fire the prosecutor I know is investigating my zero experience son who's being paid $83,000 a month, millions and millions of dollars, and he wants to keep getting paid. Now, our friend Gregg Jarrett, and we have pointed this out numerous times, has identified, the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. That's 15 U.S.C. 78. It is illegal for a person to coerce. You're not getting the billion. Or influence through bribery or extortion. You're not getting the billion unless you fire him. If you fire him, you get the billion. A foreign nation into taking action that might financially benefit that person or his family. Hunter, zero experience. Or the Bribery Act, 18 U.S.C. 201C. Whoever corruptly gives, offers, or promises anything of value to a public official, $1 billion, to influence an official act, fire the prosecutor, is guilty of bribery. Think about that. It fits perfectly. Then we've identified the Gratuities Act. We've the Hobbs Act. They're all applicable. And Gregg Jarrett is here to break all that down. Then we'll get into the Russia issue. But there is some hope now that they're actually going to follow up on this.
I agree, Sean, and it's not just Senators Ron Johnson and Chuck Grassley, but as you point out, Lindsey Graham. And Lindsey Graham not only wants to get to the bottom of what is obviously an objectively suspicious behavior by Joe Biden and Hunter Biden that merited an investigation, which Trump requested, but it's also the whistleblower. And, Senator Graham has said he wants to hold hearings and call the whistleblower, who is not entitled, by the way, to anonymity because he is not a whistleblower under the law. So says the Office of Legal Counsel of the Department of Justice in an 11-page opinion that they issued several months ago. So, this individual does not receive identity protection, and it wouldn't apply anyway to members of Congress. So I think we need to get to the bottom of it. I think what you're going to find out is that this was all a setup, that it wasn't just the whistleblower that was involved, but maybe Vindman on the National Security Council, and maybe Adam Schiff and his staff that colluded, if you will, with the whistleblower, who's a faux whistleblower, in order to invent a pretext to impeach the president.
All of which is true. So we really do need the congenital liar, the compromised congenital liar. What was the contact with the hearsay whistleblower? Was advice given? Did they coordinate? This non-whistleblower, hearsay whistleblower, apparently 2 weeks into the Trump administration, a report saying that he and another Obama holdover were talking about getting rid of Donald Trump. Okay, so they've brought this country to the brink once again, and the president wins again. I don't know how many more times they'll do it, but Nadler is already and Schiff are already talking about it. So the question here is, these statutes that you've identified are straightforward. They're unambiguous. I'm not an attorney. I read them, and it seems like they fit perfectly into what Joe Biden bragged about and the money that Hunter Biden was paid, and the interview that he gave admitting he had zero experience, none whatsoever.
Right. The Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, and you identified the specific statute, basically says that it is a crime for an American public official to use his office to confer a benefit on a foreign government in exchange for something of value to himself or a family member. In this case, it would be Hunter Biden. And, Joe Biden bragging on tape is evidence enough to launch an investigation. I think one of the first people that should be interviewed would be Victor Shokin, the fired prosecutor, who has already filed a criminal complaint in Ukraine's State Bureau of Investigation alleging that he was the victim of Joe Biden's extortion to protect his son. And so, let's
it's funny. I mean, I've never spoken to anybody in Ukraine in my life, but I have the best staff on TV, because you work with them every day. And my staff did call Shokin and said, would you like to go on the Sean Hannity show, or I'm sorry, Hannity on TV? And even that got leaked. I thought all the leaking of, let's see, my text messages, the 302s about me, I thought that was all over, Greg, because, I've been shut down. I haven't had social media now for years. I thought maybe after that was compromised, but apparently not.
Yeah, well, it was Adam Schiff who managed to obtain, I think potentially illegally, and then published or leaked various individuals' telephone numbers, including Congressman Devin Nunes and others. I think your name was on the list.
Can I ask a question? Do I have a lawsuit in any of this, or I'm just stuck as a public figure and I have to take it?
Well, it's a very good question. It depends on how Adam Schiff had actually obtained it. And we don't know the answer to that question because Schiff doesn't want to talk about it. Schiff didn't want to be a witness. Initially, he wanted the whistleblower to be a witness, but when it was revealed that Schiff had lied about his contact and coordination or his staff with the whistleblower, he clammed up and then said, and nobody's going to talk to the whistleblower. You couldn't even ask a question about the whistleblower, as Republican members of the House Intelligence Committee found out during the public hearings. So there's a cover-up involved here, and Adam Schiff is knee-deep in it.
Let's go to the new news. Now, I've been asking, where's Director Wray? I don't quite understand if I represented the greatest law enforcement agency, which I believe the FBI is, on the face of this earth. This is it. This is the elite of the elite. The great 99% that do an honest, great job to protect us every day, just like the same in the intelligence community. It's only 1% that's corrupt here. Anyway, he goes before the likes of Jim Jordan and Louis Gohmert and grilling him on the FBI's conduct and the lack of response to the FISA abuse scandal. And it didn't go well for the FBI director, and I'm trying to understand why he's not cleaning up the premier law enforcement agency in the entire world.
Because I think he's trying to protect the image of the FBI, which has been badly damaged. If you look very closely at the proposed changes he has offered to fix the FISA abuses, they're requirements that by law, the FBI is already supposed to be doing, and they haven't been doing. For too long, the FBI has been lying to the FISA court. They've been filing all kinds of FISA applications with deception and omissions. These fixes are not fixes at all. They would allow the FBI to continue to snooker the FISA court. I think, frankly, the FISA court has outlived its usefulness. We ought to go back. It ought to be, and it comes up for renewal in the next month, it ought to be eliminated, and we go back to the system where you have to go to a federal judge. There has to be a hearing. There can be some advocacy on the other side because the FISA doesn't work anymore.
Stay right there. Gregg Jarrett, more on the other side. All right, as we continue, Gregg Jarrett is with us, Fox News legal analyst, author of the best-selling books on the deep state. All right, so what do you expect? What can we expect from Durham and Barr? Because the Inspector General, I think, vindicated all of your work, all of my work, all of the work of a really dedicated but small team that we have put together. I think there's more coming.
Oh, I agree with you. And we already got a taste of it when on the day the Inspector General report came out and said they didn't really find that the initiation, the launch of the Trump-Russia investigation in the summer of 2016 was properly predicated. Immediately, the Attorney General and separately the Inspector or the U.S. Attorney John Durham both issued statements saying we disagree with that. So they already have evidence that the FBI broke their own rules and regulations in investigating Donald Trump. The question is, were these criminal acts of corruption designed to damage the president and help Hillary Clinton get elected? And when that failed, did they violate their regulations and the law even further by lying to the president, by escalating their investigation when they knew there was no evidence. I think in the end we're going to find out that Durham may have a basis to charge criminally several individuals.
Unbelievable. Great work, and I know you're staying on it.